Okay, starting. Okay, guys, welcome to our enablement session about Inphinity Forms, the Brightback extension for ClickSense. We aim this to be a regular session, so we plan to organize it each Tuesday at 1 p.m. And we would like to keep it very efficient, so within 30 minutes. So together with me, presenting will be Uri, our business consultant. Uri is the man who is helping all the Inphinity partners with any questions, any issues. He's also providing enablement, and currently he's also delivering or developing some of the front-end features of Forms. And I reckon everyone knows me. I'm Andre, and I'm partner in eMark Analytics. So we would like to have a standard agenda. So first, we would like to talk about new features or new use cases and demo models. So in this case, we'll talk about the current release 7.1, which is really interesting and have a lot of nice features, even though it's a minor release. Then we'll talk about some inspirations from last week. Each week we have several sessions with our partners. So we would like to combine all the new stuff and try to create bring what could be relevant for other partners. Today, as we had a lot of sessions with new partners, we'll show the standard stuff. We'll show very quickly the new HR demo app, and we'll show how to build your first object in the newest version of Forms. And then the third part is focused on is dedicated to your questions. So if you have any questions, we'll answer them, and if not, I would like to present the customer story of University Hospitals of Morecambe Bay, NHS UK, and quickly share the information about Q2 promo. So Uri, you ready to show us what's new in Form 7.1?
Yeah, sure, let's do that. Thanks for introducing, Andre. So we have a great product to show you, and I prepared some impressive updates for you. So let's get straight into it. I'm gonna share my screen with you. So what's new in a new version of the Forms 7.1? There's new databases are supported. So based on our customer feedback and demand, we have added support for databases without updatable result set support in JDBC driver. So what it means that you can now store your data directly to the Apache Hive, Snowflake, and SQLite. So when you go to Forms admin app, you can use database connection wizard, and you can see those databases here in dropdown. Of course, you can use the others, which have standard JDBC driver as well. So that's the first big update. The second one is when I go to my ClickSense application with the existing Forms instance. Let's say that when I modify the screen and I make this Forms object shorter, yeah, that's all right. So I have to kind of scroll. I have to use the horizontal scrolling to access my input columns. Let's say I have multiple input columns, 20 and so on. There's a now new single record view. So you can simply turn it on and off from the properties panel in appearance section. You have the single record view, show height. There's a couple of options. You can set the text alignment and the yellow color and so on. But how it looks is that on the left now you can see these buttons in there, and when you basically click on the button, it should open the single record view. Now I have the minimalistic view, but I can switch to standard view. So the standard view basically represents every field on the separate row. So let's say that you really have 20 input columns. You can nicely show them in this view under each other. So in that case, you really have better access to your input fields. Also, as I mentioned, you can modify some settings. So let's try something. So when I, for example, change the yellow color, yeah, let's go crazy here. Let's put some yellow, why not? So this is how it looks like. So you can really play around with the colors and other options. Also, right now I'm using a minimalistic view, so it means that those input columns are wrapped on the second line in here. But let's say that I would like to actually have them on 3 lines, 3 rows. I would like to actually, for example, this switch field, I would like to have it on the second row. And then, for example, the credit manager input dropdown, I would like to have on the 3rd row. So I can do that when I go to edit. And I go into the forms configuration. And I choose my field. So I said that my switch, I want to have it on the first, on the second line. So I use this checkbox wrap in single record view, and the credit manager as well, wrap in single record view. So now when I open the single record view, you can see that they are wrapped as I want it. So you can really play around with that, not just the color, but also the width. So for example, as you can see, I specify the width for the minimalistic form, but I can make it, for example, 1000 pixels. So it takes less space on my screen. So now when I open it, it should be shorter. So you can really play around with this single form, and it's definitely in handy.
Yeah, this is really useful because in many cases we are replacing some third-party data input tools, and with this we can really make it similar for the users and still stay inside Click, because until now we were just able to do the row level or the multiple records at a time. But with this, it can really look like that the all system just with fully governed enterprise-ready solutions. So, and I love the colors as well. You're right. It's nice.
Thanks. Yeah, it's poisonous.
Okay. Well, yeah, what else is there?
Yep. So another cool thing is the auto calculate field. This one is actually really handy and great for our customers. So basically, you can recalculate values based on other editable and not editable fields. So let's do, for example, let's create a new input column called new exposure. Let's give it a type number. And as you can see in here, I have some measures. I have percentage, and I have some measure called current exposure. Let's say that I would like to actually use the existing values, so I can do that. So let me first move that field here on top, and then let's write the let's use the checkbox autocalculate, and then it asks for the formula. So the formula is, in this case, I want to use the second column. I can use formula. I'm just gonna copy it from here. So this here represents my second column, which in this case is that measure I'm looking at. And let's say I just want to multiply it by 1.1, and I hit the apply. And now basically I should get this input field, this column filled with basically the value in the current exposure multiplied by 1.1. I can also do, for example, let's create some other field. I'll for now just add plus, and let's call this field new field. Let's call it a number. So now it will be empty because this field doesn't exist. So let's create a number field. Let's give it a type number, and let's move it as well on top next to our new exposure. And so as you can see here, I already pre-filled some values before. So basically this value is calculated from current exposure multiplied by 1.1 plus 4. These values are not pre-filled, so that's why it's empty. So let's just add a 0. Let's use batch update to update all the rows. And now you can see that basically the values are auto-calculated. So this is very handy if you want to actually calculate your own values based on different input columns. Right now I just use the number, but you could use, for example, the checkbox, which gives you value like 0, 1 if it's checked or not. So you can really play around with different input fields and different combinations. You just need to specify the right column in your formula, and you can auto calculate your values this way. So it's very handy. That's a really powerful functionality. And
especially for budgeting scenarios. So if you really do dependent, you put the quantity and you want to calculate the costs, quantity times unit cost, it's so much easier now, and it stores on the same form, so you can use it further in the process.
Yep.
So this is one of the most I like the most.
Yep, and there's also like I think I already mentioned 3 important points, but there's many other improvement points like UX improvements. So for example, the switch input field is a new one in this version, and also for example what was requested by our customers is let's say that you have in this dimension some long names like this one. So now it gives you nice tooltip if you have some really long fields. So let's say you can see their names by hovering your mouse. The same goes for input columns. Let's say I have some input column in here, and I want to just enter some data, and the data is simply longer than actually the width of the input field. So let me just type something long. You can see that now you can see the tooltip in there. So that's also very handy, besides other small UX improvements.
Yeah, and there is also minor but really powerful the selection in dimensions, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So yeah, that was really needed, and so it's here as you're aware of, and this is something that made my day, because you don't have to use any workarounds. It's directly in the object, and many people were asking about it. So yeah, thanks to anyone. And yep, if you need to download new version, just go to the same section as you downloaded last time. We can help you with the installation as always. So perfect. Thanks, Uri. Now let's just quickly show what we have. What was the latest HR demo, which is built on the newest version, which is available for you. So if you need it for any purposes, if you are preparing some online session with your customers, you just feel free to ask, and we'll deliver the demo in the newest version, so you can use it on your server. Also, for all of you, there is the access to the standard Inphinity demo environment where all the demo apps are present. So if you don't have access, let me know, and I'll Uri, and we can help you to get access to it, because there is I'm using that one all the time. So yeah.
So this is the new HR demo application, Tech. So you can see the standard features in the old version. So that means some sliders in here. Let's say you want to change the technical skills of employees and also make some text inputs. You can switch to the soft skills. You can then use the stars input to specify their soft skills. Below there's a goals input form, so you can see some standard text input fields and a date picker. So on the right you can see the previous goals. We use the traffic light input in here. Then when you switch to languages, in languages we have some select boxes, so you can choose from the 3 values. The select box field is very handy if you want to specify some options, so the users don't do any mistakes like they could do when using the text input. In certificates, there's some checkboxes, so you can see if they have some education in there. You can write some comments. And the files, this is something which was released in new version 7. We are particularly proud of this one because now you can simply upload any file. You can see there's a text, a GIF, PDF, so you can really upload any sort of extension in there. So in this case, it makes sense to upload the CV, right? So, and then once you upload the file, so it gives you an option to choose a file from a disk. Once you hit the save, the file is saved on your server side, and the hyperlink is created. So you can simply click on that hyperlink, and it will direct you to the correct path with the file. And you can, for example, now explore the CV of employees. So that's something which is definitely interesting. And in case you want to see all of those input fields, all the columns, you can do that because it's one form. It was just built in a way that these variable input selector as buttons show you separate parts of the form. Then in the
upload the file function will be combined, or can be combined, with more unstructured data connector. So at the same time as you upload the document, you can load all the content or whole content to your Click app. So you don't just have to preview the PDF file, the CV, but you can load all the data, make them structured, and search based on that CV. So if you are having like several hundred candidates, you can load data from email, store them here, and use them in the same model.
Yep.
So
great that you are telling this, Andre, because on this sheet we have actually CVs analysis. So we are using unstructured data connector in here to analyze all those uploaded files in there. So you can see, you can filter for the specific word or name, and it gives you all these information like the word occurrence in the document and so on. So you can filter for something interesting.
Amazing. Now it looks like we had it prepared, but we didn't. So thanks for sharing this. This is new as well for me.
Yep.
Thank you. Perfect. Amazing. Okay, we wanted to show also like several minutes how to build something from scratch. Or we going forward. We don't have any questions so far, so you can use 3-4 minutes to show anything you want.
Yeah. So this previous form I showed you in the credit risk management application, probably you ask yourself how we did it. So let's just build it ourselves together, so you have an idea how to do it. So let me just remove this one, even though I don't like to do it because I like it. So I'm just gonna remove that object. I use this standard ClickSense table for creating the object, so I can just copy and paste. It's the master dimension, so I'm gonna unlink it, and now I can just simply search on my left panel for the forms general object. I drag and drop, and it gives me an option to convert. This is very handy. You don't have to build the forms extension yourself. You can use your existing visualizations. It doesn't have to be just table. It can be bar chart, line chart, something which have your measures and dimensions in there. And in this case, you can see I got customer name and all the measures. Let's make a customer name wider, so I can either specify the width in the properties panel, or I can really use the sliders, and then just I hit apply changes. And then if you want to create the input fields, let's remove some unnecessary measures so we have more space. Let's go to the forms configuration, and then you specify the forms instance ID. In this case, I prepared the credit risk demo form instance in a forms admin application. You can, right now this is XML1, but you can also choose your existing database connection. You can specify the connection to your DB. We can show that to you on the next session, maybe. And now I'm gonna pass the credit risk demo, hit the test successful. And let's create, for example, the comment field. Let's make it brighter. Then let's add also new exposure, which will be type number. And let's specify some validation expression. So for example, if the value, the input value by the users is lower than 10, that's correct. Otherwise, it's incorrect. Yeah, right, 1, 0. Don't forget to put the value in it's a string. And then let's, for example, when it's 0, it means it's invalid. We can use the dual function to also show a message in a tooltip for the users. So let's do that. Let's choose the dual function. Let's write a message in here. It has to be less than 10, for example. So now when I hit the save and I specify some value which is higher than 10, it should give you validation error that hey, it has to be higher than 10. Obviously you can still save your data. It doesn't stop you from saving, but it gives you some sort of warning that hey, maybe this is outside of your boundaries. You can really play around with all these options in there. There's also edit mode and so on. I'll just create for now some more input fields, for example, stars. Be good for maybe rating. Let's make them wider. For some reason, my screen is freezing sometimes because of the connection. I'll just refresh it fast. So let's add some more input fields. I apologize, it's probably my connection because unfortunately working from home in these times, as you can imagine. Okay, let's put this approved by. And let's, for example, there's a new field switch. Let's use that one. So a switch is similar like a checkbox. It gives you an option for 0, 1 or true false. So in this case, could be approved. And something like we like to use is a color field. That's also something which comes in a new version 7. This is something I helped to build in the extension itself. It's a color input field, so you can also show the hex values in case you're interested in seeing actually the hex value of the color. So the purpose of this field is that let's say that you would like to use these colors in your visualization. You can definitely do that. You specify the color inputs, you save it, you reload the data back to your Qlik application data model, and then you use, for example, when you have some sort of bar chart or line chart, you will show this customer in your line chart with this corresponding color. So you can kind of play around with all these options in there. And of course,
it's always amazing for me to see how quickly you can develop new functionality. So within 3, 4, 5 minutes, you can have a new object with completely new functionality, which can be impressive for the client. We literally had several demos where they say, "Oh well, we've been waiting for this for years. We are using this third-party software, and it's just so outdated. So if you can do this, in our production environment, that's what we'll buy." And every partner can build like special IP around it. So this is the idea: to cooperate, to share, and to move forward and do more with Qlik at the end.
Yep, it's definitely very easy to use. As you can see, I'm just building the input fields one by one, so it's very seamless process. Only thing which might be something is that you can learn the expression editor, but you can write your own expressions in there. As you can see, for example, right now in the select box, I use the credit manager field to actually create a drop down with the values of the credit manager from my data model. So you don't have to, you can really play around with it. You can play around with the validation. You can play around with the locking the cells. Usually all these things, you can find them in the documentation after the installation of the forms. So even though you don't know how to do it yourself right now, you can find most of the answers to your questions in the documentation. So yeah, as Andre mentioned, it's definitely simple and easy to use.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. Let's we have 3 more minutes, so let's move ahead.
As well.
Yeah, so I'll take. Okay, I'll go from here. So, yep, I'll check there are no questions. So if you have any questions, just type them in the chat, and we'll come back to it. If not, just mail us after the webinar, and then we'll handle it either by email, or we can discuss it next week on this session. What I would love to share is the new customer story. So in NHS, they did a lot of development using Qlik and Forms, plus other products like Qlik Alerting. And it was really nice to see how much they could solve solely using Qlik skills. So they didn't have to learn other language, other like scripting language. They just needed to know Qlik, had forms, drag and drop, and they could do a lot. So now they started with data quality. So there was a webinar several weeks ago. Now they continue with some other use cases, such as project management workflow. So they replaced the spreadsheets to provide real-time updating, reporting, alerting. They combine all the project management controls, kind of, for example, risk register to support the seamless user experience. I'm sharing now the complete, the full customer story, so you can have a look. After I'll share the link where you can download it. And again, it's not only saving them a lot of time, but during these uncertain times, it can help them to react more quickly to the crisis and move Qlik more to business critical areas. So it's not only about analytics, but it's about actionable analytics. It's about really actionable insights. So you not only understand where's the problem, but you can start the workflow, you can adjust the data, change the data, change the forecast, change the plan, and get ready for something that will come tomorrow, especially in healthcare, and especially in such changing environment, which is now in the whole world. And last information I would like to share is our new promo. So we still have our end of financial year promo, where you can start with 5 users. So if you would like to start in your company, or you have any customer that would like to start, as you already know, the form users do not have too much click users. So you can have 100 click users. We can start with 5. And also analyzers can do data input. So you can have 4 analyzers, 1 professional, and that could be it. So you can start from 1200 or 1250 for 5 users. And with every new purchase, we are providing also 1 day of POC for free, or support. So if you need any help, now is the right time to start. This is valid until end of month. Again, if you would like to get a full price list, I can share it with you after the session. Just let me know. Okay, that's it for today's session. I'll just quickly check. Okay, there are no other questions. So thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll meet here in 1 week from now on Tuesday at 1 p.m. So thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thanks. Bye-bye.